news, cool vibes, sports, and more on the Integrity Station.
Good afternoon. This is the 1 p.m. news from Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. I am Ronke Giwa Onafuwa. First, the news headlines. INEC to publish final list of presidential candidates on September 20th. Also making headlines, Debt Management Office says Nigeria's debt hits 1.6 trillion naira. On the foreign scene, Aung San Suu Kyi given 3 more years for election fraud. And in sports, Aubameyang back in Premier League after Chelsea switch. Those are the headlines. Now the news in detail. The Independent National Electoral Commission said it will publish the final lists of presidential and National Assembly candidates on September 20th. Speaking at a meeting organized by the Center for Democracy and Development in Abuja, INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu said the final list for governorship and state assembly candidates is expected to be published on October 4. Professor Yakubu, while appealing to political parties and their candidates to focus on issue-based campaign, added that the commission has set September 28th for the commencement of campaigns. The INEC chairman said the electoral body is collaborating with security agencies to ensure a peaceful election.
In the next 19 days, that is on the 20th of September 2022, the Commission will publish the final list of candidates for national elections, presidential candidates and their running mates, senatorial candidates, and candidates for federal constituencies, that is House of Representatives, as provided by Section 32, Subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2022. This will be followed on 4th October 2022 by the publication of the final list of candidates for state elections, governorship and state houses of assembly elections.
The Controller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Colonel Hamid Ali, has questioned the figures for the daily consumptions of premium motor spirit, popularly known as petrol. According to Colonel Ali, if the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation puts daily consumption of PMS at 60 million litres, then why does it allow 98 million litres to be lifted daily from the depot? He stated this when he appeared before the House Committee on Finance for the hearing on the Medium-Term Expenditure Framework 2023 to 2025. The customs boss also dismissed claims that smuggling of PMS contributes to the huge amounts being paid for subsidy.
The issue is not the smuggling of petroleum. I have always argued this with NNPC. If we are consuming 60 million litres per day by their own computation, why in the world will you allow a liftment of petroleum product of 98 million naira, a million litres per day? That computation to me is not even anything to believe, because scientifically you cannot tell me that if I fill my tank today, tomorrow I'll fill the same tank with the same quantity of fuel. And if I'm running a petrol station today, if I go to Mina Depot and lift petrol, and I'm taking it to Kaduna, I may reach Kaduna in the evening, offload that petrol in that evening. There's no way I could have sold that petrol for you to account that that has been expended. So how do we get to 60 million every day?
A forensic audit report has revealed that at least 11.9 billion naira of public funds were carted away from the treasury of Kwara State between 2011 and 2019 without any lawful tie to any project or program. The audit report commissioned by the state government revealed that 2 billion naira cash withdrawals not tied to any project or official expenditure were made within 8 days in February 2019, barely 1 month to the general election. The revelation came during the submission of the report to Governor Abdurrahman Abdurazak on Thursday. SSAC and Professionals, a leading consulting firm who conducted the audit. Partner at the SSAC and Professionals, Anthony Inyomo, said the report is in 2 volumes covering internally generated revenue, capital receipts, internal and external loans, recurrent overhead expenditure, personnel costs, salaries and wages, capital expenditure, assets disposed of, Kwara State Internal Revenue Service, Infrastructural Fund Kwara, IFK, Harmony Holdings Limited, among others.
Our forensic audits revealed a colossal pilfering of about 11.9 billion naira, which we recommended should be recovered to the public coffer. A firm that was incorporated at the Corporate Affairs Commission on the 14th of June 2016 was paid by the state government for a contract it purportedly executed for the state in April of the same year. It became apparent that this was a precursive attempt to defraud the state government.
On his part, Governor Abdurazak said the revelations were truly disturbing but hardly surprising given the patterns of events in those years.
The report will help us put the state in the right direction to deepen transparency and accountability. We will go through the report fully and abide by your recommendations.
However, the former governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed, who spoke through his chief press secretary Wahab Oba, said the forensic audit report is politically motivated. He said all expenditures covering his 2 terms as governor were appropriated with due process. The Director General of the Debt Management Office, Patience Oniha, has stated that the National Assembly needs to do its due diligence in the budget process because of the rising debt profile. Oniha made the call while appearing before the House of Representatives Committee on Finance. Oniha lamented the rising budget deficit, which has forced the government to resort to borrowing, adding that the debt profile of Nigeria is over 41.6 trillion naira. Oniha said the lawmakers must scrutinize the capital and overhead components of the budget to reduce borrowing. It will be recalled that the federal government is proposing to borrow 11 trillion naira to fund the 2023 budget. Meanwhile, Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello has greeted the All Progressives Congress 2023 presidential running mate and former governor of Borno State, Senator Kashim Shettima, on the occasion of his 56th birthday anniversary. The governor's felicitation, which was contained in a press statement signed in February by his chief press secretary, Mohammed Onogu, described the former governor as an outstanding leader whose capabilities were backed up by great intellect. He added that Senator Shettima was in the class of leaders who have proven their mettle in the private sector and public service, achieving tremendous results in both sectors. The governor acknowledged that the celebrant remained a very bold, selfless and courageous leader who led his state in the most difficult times, but despite the state being under the siege of the dreaded Boko Haram insurgents, his administration spearheaded giant strides in the education sector alongside other laudable achievements in the state. He alluded that the celebrant's profile as an honest individual has been portrayed at different times in his political journey, particularly in very critical turning points for the state, noting that he had the worthy and qualified credential to serve the nation in bigger capacity. It's still the 1 p.m. news on Splash 105.5 FM. Still ahead, Aung San Suu Kyi given 3 more years for election fraud. In sports, Aubameyang back in Premier League after Chelsea switch. Akanji joins Manchester City. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll bring you more stories. Please stay with us.
Mo lọ ṣe àyẹ̀wò nílé ìwòsàn ní jàre ni wọ́n bá sọ fún mi pé àìsàn ibà malaria ni mo ní.
Ẹ pẹ̀lẹ́.
Ara mi ti balẹ̀ láti ìgbà tí mo ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń lo oògùn tó kó fún mi láti. Ó tilẹ̀ jẹ́ wípé mi ò parí ẹ̀ ó jèrè.
Ṣéyàn mọ̀ wípé kò sí ìwúlò nínú oògùn tá a bẹ̀rẹ̀ tá ò lò tán ni.
Mo ní kí n kó pamọ́ ní jèrè nítorí ọjọ́ mi. Ẹ wo, ẹ dákun ẹ fún mi ní fùfún àti ẹ̀fọ́ ríro.
Ọ̀dà náà.
Ìyá olóúnjẹ, abọ́ yóò kún.
Ìgbà tó jẹ́ pé aláfipamọ́lẹ̀ lọ́kù tá à ń ṣe ń sìn. Kémi náà bá yín fi díẹ̀ pamọ́ torí ìgbà tẹ́bi ọba tó payé tó bá yá o.
Báwo nìyẹn ṣe jẹ́?
Kéèyàn má parí oògùn ibà malaria. Ó dàbí ìgbà tó jẹ́ pé téèyàn bá jẹun kékeré nígbà tí ebi ń pa. Ibà yìí lè padà wá pẹ̀lú agbára káká. Ọwọ́ oògùn tí a fi pamọ́ òun kò wá nílé ká mọ́.
Ìyá ọlọ́gbọ́n.
Ẹ lọ lògùn tán o.
Èyí kọ́gbọ́ o, ṣe bó ti yẹ.
Ara gbígbóná a máa yíwọ́ o bí ènìyàn bá tètè mójútó ní kíákíá pàápàá jùlọ fún ọmọdé tí ọjọ́ orí rẹ̀ kò tí ì kọjá ọmọ ọdún 5 lọ. Ẹ jẹ́ kí a kọ́kọ́ ṣe àyẹ̀wò fún ìbànú kí a sì rí dájú wípé a lo oògùn wa tán pátápátá fún ìtọ́jú tó péye.
Ìkéde yìí wá láti ọ̀dọ̀ ìjọba àpapọ̀ tó ń mójútó ọ̀rọ̀ ìlera àti àwọn èèyàn Amẹ́ríkà.
Àríkẹ́ ojú rẹ̀ ṣe akọrẹ lọ báyìí.
Bọ̀dá wà sún ewé fún mi lè oje alọ́jà òya.
Ọjà àyà bíi ti bó ó túmọ̀ sí pé ọmọ lo mama ATM mọ́sọ̀bù rẹ nù.
Bọ̀dá wà sí ìwé dákun ewu tún ni mama ATM POS.
Mama ATM ní gbogbo ntajà tó ní sọ̀bù ń lò báyìí. Ìwọ wo sadé tó ní sọ̀bù nísàlẹ̀ ọjà lọ́hùn. Gbogbo gbala ń bára máa ń wo sọ̀bù rẹ̀ tọ́jà rẹ̀ sì ń yá kíákíá. Torí wípé ń lo mama ATM POS. Èèyàn nìkan kọ́ àwọn ń bára tó bá tó ara nǹkan lẹ́yìn dòdò sọ̀bù rẹ̀ àtúmọ̀ ara research card. Eléyìí tó tẹ̀ jáde lórí mama ATM POS. Àwọn ń bára máa ń gbowó lórí mama ATM POS machine. Wọ́n á tún fi owó sórí ìdìkódà DSTV GoTV àti StarTime lọ́dọ̀ rẹ̀. Sọ ti wá mọ ìdí tí sọ́ọ̀bù sadé fi gba ìbúbọ̀ ládùúgbò báyìí tó sì jẹ́ pé kò ṣe mọ́wọ́ ní fún gbogbo ń bára rẹ̀. Ọ̀jẹ̀ yára tètè lọ gba mama ATM POS. Káwọn ń bára rẹ̀ mọ ìyá ń kẹ̀tíkẹ̀tí.
Ó ní ìṣèwà gba mama ATM POS machine.
Kàn sí mama ATM ní nàbà 6A Ọ̀lànìyàn Fagbemi Street off Mobile bus stop lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ for the Live Center Ìyàgànkú GRA Ìbàdàn. Nílùú Èkó Suite 18 Aláùsá shopping mall Ìkẹjà 0809 950 0554. Mama ATM gba owó pẹ̀lú ìrọ̀rùn.
As we dey ride, we suppose dey flex. With better music for body, we know the stress. Boxer Street to Nadi zone. At work or when I go, you never feel alone. Boxer Street to
Join me, Tẹ́bítọ́pẹ́ Fádéyí aka Ayuda One Alagbe Ìjàmọ̀ Máyọ̀ ọmọ pápá Ọbádọ̀rẹ́ kékèké kó dùn kó pọ̀ kó pẹ́ jaburata T. Johnson. Every Tuesday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. on Top Splash 105.5 FM for Boxer Street Tunes with Bajaj.
I'm living the life cause I get to
Hey, kọ́ńbù ẹ̀kú àlejò imú gbòǹgbò ọ̀nà ẹ̀kú àlejò ẹsẹ̀ Ìbàdàn nílé Olúyọ̀lé ẹ̀kú àmójúbà Tizeti Network Limited pẹ̀lú Tizeti ìlò omi òjò lẹ́ẹ̀ máa lo ayélujára internet ní yàwàlù torí pé gbajúgbajà ní iléeṣẹ́ Tizeti Network Limited nídìí ìpèsè ayélujára lórílẹ̀‐èdè Nàìjíríà fún iléeṣẹ́ ńláńlá àti olókoòwò kéékèèké lábẹ́ àbúradà Tizeti ẹ lè browse kẹ́ stream kẹ́ sì tún gbá géèmù bó ṣe wù yín láì níkọ̀sẹ̀ pẹ̀lú ìlànà ẹgbẹ̀lẹ́mùkú data kèé máa ṣeré ìwọ ni kó o má sọ̀fànù 12,500 naira pé lẹ́ẹ̀fì jẹ mùlá data fódìdí oṣù kan gbáko lábẹ́ àbúradà Tizeti láì níkọ̀sẹ̀ ẹ kàn sí wifi.com.ng/oyo ẹ sì lè pe 0122987886 tàbí kẹ́ ẹ tẹ àtẹ̀jíṣẹ́ sí internet@wifi.com.ng ayélujára ní yàwàlù.
Ọmọ mi ti pọ̀ṣù mẹ́fà ẹ bá mi dúpẹ́. Oṣù mẹ́fà ẹ bá mi dúpẹ́. Ó ti yẹ pọ̀ṣù mẹ́fà nìyẹn. Ọmọ ò máa ń pẹ́ dàgbà o. Báyìí o, ọmọ rẹ ti wá nílò ju omi ọyàn nìkan lọ o. Àkókò ti tó láti máa fún un ní oúnjẹ fífọ́ ní àfikún sí ọyàn. Rí i dájú pé àwọn oúnjẹ ọmọ rẹ ní ó kéré tán ọ̀kan lára àwọn oúnjẹ àfọ́pọ̀ márùn-ún wọ̀nyí. Ẹyin, ẹja tàbí ẹran, èso àti ewébẹ̀, epo tàbí òróró, ẹ̀wà, ẹ̀pà tàbí sóyà, ìrẹsì, ọ̀dùnkún, àgbàdo tàbí iṣu. Ọmọ rẹ bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti oṣù mẹ́fà nílò omi ọyàn. Àtàwọn oúnjẹ wọ̀nyí fún ìdàgbàsókè àti ìlera máa fún wọn lọ́yàn títí yóò fi pé ọmọ ọdún 2 àti jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Ìkéde yìí wá láti ẹ̀ka àkànṣe iṣẹ́ ARIN nílé iṣẹ́ ètò ìlera ìjọba àpapọ̀.
Kí ìlú lè rojú kí ìlú lè ráàyè kára ó dẹdẹrú tọmọ lórílẹ̀‐èdè Nàìjíríà gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọ̀dọ́ ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ó yá ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ kókèrè nínú ìrìn ìfọnrere àjùmọ̀rìn eléyìí tí ó wáyé ní ọjọ́ Sátidé ọjọ́ 3 nínú oṣù kẹsàn-án bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti agogo 7 òwúrọ̀. Ọ̀yọ́
obedient and youth. It is time for us to showcase what we are preaching. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin tó bí dàtí. Ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ pátá, ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ pàdé lówùúrọ̀ kùtù níwájú ilé oúnjẹ Tantalizer. Ní dédé aago 7 òwúrọ̀ ní Ìwó Road níbẹ̀ la ó ti pàdé. Fún ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé tàbí ìbéèrè, ẹ pè sórí ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yìí 08137122498. Southwest Citizens ló ṣonígbọ̀wọ́ ẹ̀.
Welcome back. You're still listening to the 1 p.m. news. Now turning to the foreign scene. A military-run court in Myanmar has sentenced Aung San Suu Kyi to a further 3 years in prison on election fraud charges. Ms. Suu Kyi, the country's former leader, has now been sentenced to 20 years in prison on 11 counts, with several charges remaining. She has denied all of the accusations, and the trials have been condemned by rights groups as politically motivated. If convicted on all charges, she could face almost 200 years in prison. Her lawyer said the new sentence included hard labor, while the 76-year-old Nobel laureate has spent most of her time in detention under house arrest in the capital, Nay Pyi Taw. However, the public and media have had no access to the closed-door hearings, and the military has prevented her lawyers from speaking to journalists. Argentina's vice president has narrowly avoided assassination after a gunman's weapon jammed as he aimed at her. Footage shows the moment Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner, surrounded by a mob of supporters, found herself face-to-face with the loaded weapon. President Alberto Fernandez revealed the gun was loaded with 5 bullets but failed to fire when triggered. The former president was returning home from court where she faces allegations of corruption, which she has denied. Police say the gunman, who local media identified as a 35-year-old Brazilian man, has been taken into custody. They are attempting to establish a motive for the attack on the left-leaning populist, who was Argentina's president from 2007 to 2015 and its first lady for 4 years before that. Finally, in sports, former Arsenal captain Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is back in London after completing his deadline day switch to Chelsea. Aubameyang only left the Emirates Stadium for FC Barcelona in February after his contract was terminated following a fallout with manager Mikel Arteta. He scored 11 goals in 17 La Liga appearances for Barcelona. The 33-year-old Gabon forward has now been reunited with Blues manager Thomas Tuchel, his manager at Borussia Dortmund. Aubameyang has agreed a 2-year contract at Stamford Bridge to become the Blues' 6th senior signing of the transfer window. Just before we go, a recap of the headlines. INEC is to publish final list of presidential candidates on September 20. And Debt Management Office has said Nigeria's debt now stands at 41.6 trillion naira. On the foreign scene, Aung San Suu Kyi has been given 3 more years for election fraud. And Aubameyang back in Premier League after Chelsea switch. For more details on the news, visit our website on www.splashfm1055.com. Now you can download the Splash FM mobile app on iOS and Google Play Store to listen live, get news update, opinion poll, and also report an event live to us through the iReport feature. To download, simply go to any of the stores mentioned and search for Splash FM 105.5, then click to download. We have now come to the end of the news on Splash 105.5 FM, the integrity station and the best radio station in the southwest of the country. The news editor is Tunde Olawu, assisted by Chinwe Churchill. I'm Ronke Giwa Onafuwa. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.
Quick, charge at 240. Hot news, cool vibes, sports, and more on the Integrity Station.